D&E fam, Vincent Irving, aka DJ V, with there it is backwards. DJs and entertainment. I ain't been slacking, been busy. Big New Year's Eve event. Now I'm getting some R&R in. I'm at the airport currently. Going to see my boy DJ C Style. His interview is coming up very, very soon. Every time I get ready to record, I come overboard. But anyway, stay tuned for Hobotone. I'm back on the job. And part 3 of DJ Rice. DJs and entertainment, don't forget, please subscribe. Vincent Irving, aka DJ V, on YouTube.
We got to know. Throwing fishes. Fishes at the camera, because he's a fighter, man, because he's been doing it for so long. But how did you get the name Hobotone?
Oh, man. I had to be about, real quick, I was probably 17, 18. And I was in Chicago. In Chicago, where I'm originally from, well, I was born there. I'm from Kansas City, but my roots is Chi-Town. Gotcha. So we traveled, we used L trains and stuff to get to all over the city. That's how we commute.
Of course.
And I was with my cousin, and they used to call me Bone Tone back in the day, because I was just real skinny. And everybody said, I can't even when I was skinny, I didn't think I was skinny, but they said I was a real two-pick dude. And I was rapping on the streets of Chicago, and my cousin was like, man, you dope. And he's like, you should call yourself Hobo, because you always catching these trains to go commute.
Makes sense.
You know, and then over, throughout life, I travel anyway. So it just made sense. Like when I was in Chicago, I rode trains to all my locations, and then as I got older and I traveled the world, like on tour with Tech Nine and stuff like that, Hobo just, hobos, they travel, and it just it stuck with me. And I wish, me personally, I wish I would have came up with a whole different name than Hobotone, because it was like, it associate with you being like a bum or
for sure,
kind of Hoboken, but
it is what it is.
Yeah, and I remember doing a show with Ice Cube and Scarface and them, and they was like, who's Hobotone? And it was just kind of one of those surreal moments, man. It was just kind of funny and kind of like embarrassing at the same time. Like,
for sure,
these are my peers, and they looking for, and I was almost scared to say it's me. I'm Hobotone. But it was in Detroit at the Joe Louis Arena, and so that's how Hobotone came about from when I was in Chicago as a youngin'. My cousin, we came up with that name, riding trains.
And that was, what year was that again?
That was, man, it had to be 80. I was, it's like 88.
88,
yeah.
Okay.
So Tone's World is the other name. So Hobotone was the rap side, and then when I did the business side, I didn't want to walk into upscale business offices like, yo, I need to speak, you need to talk to Hobotone. You want to talk to Tony Smith, and Tony Smith happened to be the CEO of Tone's World. So Tone's World was created, and I don't want to jump past the 90s, but it was mostly created like in the early 2000s.
Well, we're going to get to that for sure. And hit it.
Hobotone, man.
That's right. The rapper, the producer, now the DJ. Unpack that.
06, man.
Okay, 06.
Back off the tour with Tech. Back home, broke. And no job, car repossessed, all the things that could happen to just a regular guy, man.
Murphy's Law.
Man. And my guy called me and was like, hey man, you want to DJ this party in Lawrence, Kansas at this place called Last Call.
Oh wow.
And so I just took it because I was broke. Like, man, you know what? I'll do it. So I had like
money.
I had 3 CDs. There was like 18 songs a piece. I had a slow jam CD, a fast jam, and like a little R&B CD. So I went up there, and I don't even think I even had equipment. They already had the equipment there. So I started playing these CDs. But what made me find the niche that I could be a great DJ was I had already been on tour, and I talked to like thousands of people via the mic. So the microphone was like my friend. So entertaining an audience was easy. The DJ part was like, I got to figure out how to, play the right music at the right time. And I'm a music connoisseur, so I just learned a lot from other DJs, being around them like DJ Def, DJ Fresh, DJ Rice, DJ Dink. These guys were DJs before I even thought about being DJ. I was just a rapper.
Right.
But hanging around them, especially Def and Fresh, it just I just picked up real quick on. They would play this, they would play this, they would do this, they would do this, and then the niche that I had was, I think my mic skills were better.
I agree.
So people just liked what I said. I didn't like degrade women or nothing like that, but it was like I just was like the P. Diddy of the mic parties. So not only was I playing good music, but the mic was like getting them extra hype. And it's like, you said that? And then I would like joke, and it was just, that became like my first little DJ niche at Last Call. Eventually, Santana from Joel Santana and Dipset came there, Rich the Factor. People started coming to Lawrence, Kansas, and people would come from Topeka, Kansas City, Wichita, and I had this huge fan base that I built in like a year at Last Call. And while I was doing that, gigs were coming up like at Sprint Center. People would start booking me outside. So yeah, that was Last Call, man. Lawrence, Kansas, and a huge fan base. Started getting gigs at, I was working at Kudos. A lot of people was doing a lot of things. As a DJ, I just was trying to be innovative. And I've always, even the reason why Tech took me on tour is my beats and my rap style was just different from just the average. So DJs, pretty much, we play the same music. But what do you bring to the table that's different from other DJs? Well, the mic was most definitely my strong point. And I started getting gigs at Kudos, and then I left Kudos. I went to the Juke House, and the Juke House really became like a real strong point for me. Man, I got there. I remember doing my own flyer. And
what year did you go to the Juke House?
Dang, what year was that? We're gonna speed up because that was 06 when I started, and I've been DJing. So by the time I got to the Juke House, it was probably like 2010, 2011.
Sure. And that's been your home for a good while.
Yeah, it was my home. I did a minute at the Juke House, at least 5 years.
Yes.
I had a 3-year hiatus now, and the talks is of me coming back, but you know, you heard it first, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right. But, right here on DJs and Entertainment.
Yeah.
Introducing.
Exactly. So, got at the Juke House, man, and it just became, she put me on a Saturday, it was dead, and nobody was coming, but the way I promote and the way, you know, the fan base I was building out in Lawrence, Kansas, people was like, man, where can I catch you? And so Kansas City, me being from both sides and inviting people and just
the diplomat of both.
Doing it, man. They all came and started supporting, and over time, Mike Epps ended up coming to the Juke House. Tony Rock been to the Juke House like umpteen times. These are like friends of mine that's in the industry that when they come and do a show, they'll end up at the Juke House, like end up being the hottest spot. T.I. end up coming down there doing an interview with KPRS. Like, people weren't even looking at the Juke House, and I feel like I'm an innovator where I would go somewhere and people wouldn't even be looking at the location, and then all of a sudden everybody wants to deal with this location. So Earthquake, a lot of comedians came through there, and a lot of artists came through there, like Jennings, Johnny Gill. You know, a lot of big time people have been to the Juke House, and the biggest deal for me after so many years of playing the Juke House was my my opportunity to actually play music for 50 Cent. So 50 Cent came to the Juke House.
I remember.
And it was just something that, you know, over time, man, with my promotion and me learning, taking my DJ skills into, which gave me another niche, I started getting into videographing and doing photography. So now I went from rapper to DJ to this super well-known videographer to photography to doing 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute commercials.
Interesting.
Doing radio drops. I've been doing radio drops through all this stint, you know, but end up doing radio commercials, TV commercials, and I just combined all that in, and that's how Tone's World really got, you know, big, because of the DJing and the Juke House years.
Right.
And when 50 Cent came, I'll tell you the story about that. He came, he was only supposed to come and sit down for like 10 minutes. Right. I mean, they paid him a boatload of money. The Juke House paid him to come and sit there for 10, 20 minutes, shake some hands and say goodbye.
Right. Kiss the babies and keep it
kiss the babies and keep moving. But man, I've been all over the world. I just know that I just bring something different to the table. So when he came, I had his whole catalog. Like all that day, I was like, I'm gonna have all 50 Cent's music. Just everything he done in his life. And he was sitting over there and chicks were screaming and everything. And I was like, why y'all didn't tell me 50 Cent was here? And I'm going hard on the music. And he was like, who is that guy, you know, playing this music, you know? So he had the police escort him through the crowd. Wow. And no shot to 50, man. Everybody's like, 50 got the police blocked. But you know what? When you big like that and you got millions, you know,
you gotta have it.
I might have the police with me, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm in a city I don't know of. So anyway, he came over to the DJ booth and he was like, man, you know, who are you, man? Like, are you from here? I was like, yeah, this is home for me. He was like, man, what kind of music you got? I said, I pretty much got it. I'm a fan, Fit. So he was like, he asked me about this one song called Wait a Minute, which was a new song that just came out like 2 days ago. In New York, it was hot, but I had it. So he was like, he just looked at me. He was like, man, whatever you want to do, let's do it. Because Kansas City, for some reason, he just had a lot of love, you know, that night. And so I helped him up on the speaker. And man, we went at it song for song. So he was real big with the movie Power, with the TV show Power. And so we did Big Rich Town first, and then we started doing all these, you know, birthday hits, the birthday hit song that he got out, and all these different songs that he had, Candy Shop, everything. Like he did a whole 20-minute, 25-minute set behind me, and he was only supposed to be at the club for 20 minutes and then leave. So he ended up being there for like an hour or so. And he hung out, man. It was probably like the biggest thing for me because as a DJ, you just want recognition, like, man. And I think that I kind of spearheaded that. Even to get him to the Juke House when I was hearing of him coming, you know, I have a great relationship with the higher ups of all these different locations. And so, you know, I spearheaded the whole thing. And to him actually getting, that was kind of like extra. And so that was like the epitome right there. Shortly after that, I ended up leaving the Juke House. We didn't talk about that part.
That's Sonny Stevens, a KC legend for sure. She's young, she's tall, and she's beautiful. And I know her mom too. So check this out. The Way You're Loving Me by Sonny Stevens. Check it out. It's on all major music outlets. It's the two-stepper for sure. Yeah.
And so, you know, like I say, the difference in Kansas City and St. Louis, it's a whole different market. So they do things a little different. They're more of an East Coast style market, where we're more of a West Coast style market. Now the radio stations, they go right to the streets. They rely on the DJs
in St. Louis.
In St. Louis. I mean, like they really rely on the DJs. If the DJ's popping at Club Monster or, you know, any of the club, they want to be there broadcasting live. And that DJ is the one that they're going to allow to be on the air. Kansas City, we don't have that opportunity. We you know, if they're broadcasting live anywhere, it's because some promoter paid them. They're not just in the streets at the clubs on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? Atlanta does it. All the big cities do it. Kansas City don't do it. Kansas City doesn't expose the talent like St. Louis had. Thus brings your Nellies and Chingies and Jaquans, where, you know, here we got underground heat, and thankful for that because that's something. But that's not enough to expose the talent that's here. You know what I'm saying? And it's, we've been fighting for it for years here in Kansas City. Where we at 2020 almost, and you know, nothing has changed.
Would you want to maybe question why that is?
You know, I kind of got a little understanding on why it is, because this is the only black radio station in this market, and it's an old radio station. You know, Carter Brad Costin, Carter Broadcast. How you say what I'm trying to broadcasting. Been here for what, 50, 60 years?
Yep.
They don't have no competition.
Right.
So they can control and do like they want. And radio is nothing but paid airtime. So when you have big labels sponsoring that airtime, that is what the business is. So they tend to the business. Whereas St. Louis, it's competition. So you can get bumped off. You can lose your spot. Right. Change your letter names, your call letters, and it's a whole nother station now. Because the competition down there is about the streets. Right. Okay, so it's a different market. And they got 2 or 3 radio stations. So, that's the biggest difference. And when you've got a program director that's really not focused on locals, he'll give you some light. He'll give you some love. But he sets the bar so high to where you got to jump up and do all these dances to get to it. And then you only get this small window at midnight on a Friday or a Saturday night where everybody's either asleep, going to the club, or, you're not really getting that 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 6 o'clock drive home, or 9 o'clock before the club starts exposure. Right. Whereas St. Louis is doing that, and they in the club at 11 o'clock. So you're getting 3, 6, 9, and 11 o'clock exposure if you got a hot record, and they push you. Right. Whereas here, we don't get that here. And, you can't blame Myron D for it. He's the program director, but you can't blame him for it because he's still up under the system, too. He got a boss that said, this is how we move. Right. And he has carved out a way for us to at least get that underground heat. Mm-hmm. And that is also another control situation to where you got to meet the criteria. Right. It's not just because you got a hot record. Right. You got to meet the criteria in order to get the exposure from that, So that's the difference with the radio here. And, that leaves a bad taste in a lot of artists' mouth here in Kansas City. But those who do make it to the radio station, then it's like they the elite, right. But once again, being the elite and being active and I got a lot of followers and I got a bunch of likes, but I ain't got no money, man. Right. So don't believe the hype. PE told you that a long time. Don't believe the hype, understand the business because that's what it is.